2 years and 9 months after Chicago police officers carried out this botched raid on Anjanette Young's home, the Civilian Office of Police Accountability, or COPA, is now calling for the firing and suspension of several officers involved. CBS 2 investigator Dave Savini first exposed this story and has been following it every day, every step of the developments. Dave, COPA not holding back in calls for accountability for officers and the department tonight.
That's right, Erica. We've been pouring through this 60-page COPA report all afternoon, and we know now that 13 officers had some sort of involvement in the botch raid. This report recommends discipline or termination for 8.
Just relax, all right?
The officer holding the blanket, Elaine Aparango, is the one who got the warrant to raid Anjanette Young's apartment in February of 2019. According to the COPA report just released, out of all the officers involved that night, he was considered the most culpable for the harm Anjanette Young experienced because Aparango believed a John Doe informant without properly checking the address where an illegal gun was supposedly being stored. COPA's findings also reveal Aparango failed to perform due diligence to check out the tip properly. There were numerous other findings of misconduct, the result a recommendation of a 180-day suspension up to separation, meaning fired.
Chicago Police Search Warrant! Go!
More misconduct was sustained during the entry for not giving Young enough time to answer the door before busting in and pointing guns at Young and handcuffing her. The officer in the mask, Gabriel CRUZ, who helped cover Young at one point, was singled out for lessening the harm to Anjanette Young, but he was also given a 60-day suspension recommendation for failing to abide by the knock and announce rule. And this officer, Michael Donnelly, was hit with a 15-day suspension for an unrelated search he did of another person's car while in the parking lot behind Young's apartment. Donnelly was cited for an improper search and failing to properly activate his body camera. And finally, the two biggest recommended punishments go to Sergeant Alex WOLINSKI. He was on the scene, and he's accused of not giving Young the search warrant in a timely manner and leaving her handcuffed for so long. His, quote, lack of supervision related to the entire raid gets him a year suspension up to separation or termination. Another separation was recommended for a sergeant not on the scene that night, but was Aparango's direct supervisor, Sergeant PETRACCO. He was cited for a, quote, troubling lack of personal accountability and supervision.
Now, this report is incredibly detailed. Right here is a picture of where Anjanette Young's apartment was and where the target of the raid actually really lived. And it really comes down to accountability and supervision, which is why some of the bigger disciplinary hits were at the sergeant level. And we'll see if it goes further than that, because, of course, a lieutenant signed off on all of this. Now, Sergeant Alex WOLINSKI has been recommended for firing by Superintendent Brown, and we're still waiting to learn about the discipline and any discipline, official discipline that the other officers may face. Back to you, Brad and Erica.
All right, Dave, thank you.